Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Love Alarm Season 2. And for those who have watched my review on Season 1, y'all know I was really pressed and very emotionally unstable watching this entire series because I was not a fan of Kim Jojo, and for my own specific reasons, and being that I just felt like she was dragging Sono along for again 4 years for no reason, and I just felt like he didn't deserve it. So let me reel it back and not rant right at the beginning of this episode and get right into it. So for the plot synopsis season 2, we basically pick off right where season 1 ended, which was the launch of Love Alarm 2.0. Hence Love Alarm 2. And with Love Alarm 2.0, it's basically an addition or a feature on the application now where you can see people who could potentially like you. So if you guys don't know, Love Alarm, the first version, it just tells you someone who likes you when they're within a 10-meter radius of you. But with Love Alarm 2.0, you will be notified. It basically tells you everybody who could potentially like you in the new feature, if it ever happens. And everybody's on Love Alarm. So the developer who added this feature felt that the people who felt lonely in season 1, and hence the mass murder, the people who felt like they could never be loved because no one had ever loved a wrong. And for the people who had done the mass murder in season 1, they all had done that because they felt like no one would ever love them because no one had ever rung their love alarm. So which is why the addition of 2.0 created the feature where you can be notified of people who could potentially like you, so people could feel less lonely. In season 2, we also get to see the development of the relationship between Kim Jojo and Hee Young, but also Sono and Yeokju. And the comeback of Deku, which is my favorite part. So let me get into the different character storylines. I'm going to start with Kim Jojo because, again, she is the centerpiece of the show, and I think it's important that I highlight her storyline first. So with Kim Jojo, she is a survivor of an attempted mass family suicide from season 1, and in season 2, we finally get to see her learn to get over that. And I think one thing we failed to recognize from season 1 is that this young girl had been living with this sense of guilt for being the only survivor in that situation. And because of it, especially when she was younger, she felt like she wasn't deserving of being alive in a way, or more so like being loved or being cared for or being cherished. So when she had ended her relationship with Sono in season 1, it really stemmed from the fact that she felt like she wasn't deserving of being loved by Sono, which is sad in a way, but in season 1 I really hated her for it. But now I get it. It makes sense. So we really see her come full circle with finding herself and letting go of her past, letting go of that past pain, and no longer feeling like she needs to regret surviving. She should be a champion, and she should appreciate herself more for that. Yeah. And then we have Hee Young, and with Hee Young's storyline, I love that they actually dug a little bit more deeper into his character storyline in giving us the backstory of his dad and his own characteristics as a being. Because as we know, Hee Young from season 1 and even season 2, well, Hee Young from season 1 never really spoke up for what he wanted in life, always hid his feelings and put Sono first. And at the end of season 1 and going to season 2, we see that he was finally starting to step out of himself and confess to Kim Jojo and be a man in a sense. And when we come to the storyline of him and his father, and him being put in a position to either free his father from prison or keep him there, we get to a heartbreaking scene where he struggles, realizing that him and his father are kind of one and the same. And it's a beautiful storyline. And I think it shows us a little bit more as to why Hyung is the way he is and why he carries himself the way that he does. And then finally, we have Hwang Sun-ho. So as you know, Hwang Sun-ho is still kind of hung up on Kim Jojo, even though he has been in this 2-3 year relationship with Yeokju, who is a social media influencer. And Yeokju adores him. And although we can see through his actions that he also cares for her a lot, he, for some reason, cannot ring her love alarm because he's still hung up on Kim Jojo. And then from there, we get a comeback from Deokju, who is the main developer of Love Alarm, and we end up finding out that Brian Choi is his older brother who took over as a developer while Deokju was recovering from his failed attempt at suicide in season 1, which had all of us confused. So I had a feeling he had to come back because at the end of season 1, like, you know that scene where someone's in a truck and it looks like him from the profile? Yeah, I was like, he has to come back. So he came back and he pretty much lays everything open for us and just really having us understand why the app was created and what it's supposed to stand for. And that at the end of the day, although this love app, this love alarm can tell you someone who loves you, it's not the end all of who could potentially love you. And also, it's not a definitive of how that person will end up loving you, because love comes in so many different forms. And we see that in 2 specific scenes. In season 1, we see it in the scene when that woman was murdered from a stalker and her love alarm rang. And the same with the high school student who was murdered in season 2. And again, her love alarm was rung. And what we get from that is love comes in so many different forms. Love is so complex. So it's hard to define love in one simple way and to state that this app is completely accurate in identifying who loves you. Because yeah, someone may love you, but they also may hate you. Love and hate are kind of one and the same. And I think my mom told me that when I was really young. Love and hate pretty much bring out the same emotions. So someone can love you and hate you to the core, but still love you. And we see that when these women are murdered. And which brings me to the question, what is love, right? Because again, if love is so complex, what is it truly? Is it words of affirmation, gift giving, action? You know, what is love? And how do we know that the love someone is showing us is true? And I think what that comes down to is action. I think through everything, and even through what they showed us in the show, it was action. And the actions that Hee-young portrayed to Kim Jojo was that he was willing to put her first no matter what. And even though I was team, and I'm still low-key team Sono, not for him to be with Kim Jojo, just for him to be happy in a sense. Even in season 1, and I wasn't accepting it, but we saw even in season 1 and season 2 that he was selfish in his love. So although he loved her, he was still only willing to put his emotions first and his feelings first. I'm going to show you guys a comparison between these 2 scenes from season 1 and season 2. When Sunho goes in and kisses Kim Jojo both times while she's in another relationship. And I think that goes to show that even though Sunho really liked and loved and cared for Kim Jojo, he disrespected her in both scenes because he put her in a position where she then becomes the bad guy, which is high-key unfair to Kim Jojo. And again, it was him really putting his own feelings and emotions before her own. But in the same sense, I still truly feel like Kim Jojo owed Sunho an explanation as to why she ended things with him the first time around so he could get over her. Which brings me to my next point that I wanted to bring up in lieu of this review that I think this show highlighted so perfectly. And something, you know, I constantly talk about with my friends is the idea that we have 3 loves in a lifetime. And what this saying explains to us is that within the 3 loves we have in a lifetime, the first love is young love. It's pure, it's innocent, it's easy because it's convenient, usually happens in high school, maybe even before that. And then comes the second love. And with that second love, it is that hard love, that where the attraction is so intense, the love is so intense, but at the same time, it's painful. It's instant attraction, instant love, instant gratification. And they loved so hard to the point where it became too painful for her to bear, which is why she ended it with him. So, and then we come to her third love, which is Young. And what they say about your third love is that it comes without you knowing or understanding why, and it comes easy. You meet someone and it is just easy. And that's what they show us with Young and Kim Jojo's relationship in this season. And so that's the one thing I kept thinking about throughout this entire season or the entire show was, holy smack. They literally laid it out bare for us again that it is true. You have 3 loves in a lifetime. And although that a lot of people get caught up and stuck in that second love for years because they don't realize that it really shouldn't be that hard to be in a relationship with someone who loves you. And although Sono never hurt Kim Jojo intentionally or in any way, that wasn't the love she was supposed to end up with. I know for the Sono stands, I know it's tough to accept it, but accept it. She wasn't supposed to end up with him for many reasons. And to just go into my favorite scenes. So my first favorite scene, for me at least, would have to be, the first scene would have to be when Kim Jojo is on the marathon run in Jeju Island, and she comes to a meeting with her younger self, and she recognizes and realizes that she had been unwilling to let go of the pain of her past, which was holding her back from fully moving on with her life. And when she was able to embrace her younger self and let go of that pain and that resentment she held towards her parents, but also the regret she held and feeling she wasn't meant to survive, really opened up her character a little bit more. And I think that scene was super imperative to show. And so that was definitely a really good scene for me. Really well done. A second good scene for me, I think this is probably one of my favorite scenes, and I'm probably just a little sucker, was with Sono and Yeokju at the end of the season. And it is when Yeokju comes back after being away for about a month and a half. And when she gets home, she sees that on her little, I don't know what it was called, security cam recorder thingy, that Suno had been coming to visit her every single day for the past 2 weeks. And when he does show up that same day and she runs up to go see him, that scene was one of my favorites, simply because we get to see Suno start to show love for the girl that had been solid. And I feel like Yeokju deserved it. And so did, they both deserved that accomplishment of Suno finally getting over Kim Jojo and moving on and giving Yeokju what she deserved. And in return, him getting what he deserved, which is someone who loves him, truly. I think another important scene to highlight, which brings full circle this entire show and the entire idea of, what is love, is the scene with Sono and his mother. And this is the scene when his mother is asked to go do an interview. And one of the interview questions asks if her and her husband can ring each other's love alarm. And her response to Sono is that her father still rings her love alarm, but she can't ring his. But she finds it funny because even though his father rings her love alarm, he is the one that is cheating. Which goes right back into what I said about, although someone may love you, it doesn't mean their love is pure, right? Because someone can love you and disrespect you and hurt you mentally, physically, emotionally, And then you have those people that love you completely, you know, and that's why like the whole idea behind Love Alarm, and even the ideas that Jojo brings up at the end of the season, is that we can't completely close ourselves off to what love could be because of an app. And although it's there to, you know, help us, I think what people misunderstood with the app is that it was only supposed to be there to help us bring forth feelings we were scared or too nervous to bring forth before. But it doesn't mean that this is the only answer as to what love is. And I love that at the end of the season, they show Hyung and Kim Jojo, and what Hyung says to her is, "I love you," and he says, "You know, we don't say it anymore, and it feels really good that I get to actually say it." And then I realized no one in either seasons told their significant other that they love them, like with their words. They were always just like showing their phones, be like, "Yeah, look, I love you," but no one actually vocalized it. And then it was such, I don't know what, it was super small, but it was like one of those moments for me where it's like, holy schmack, no one said I love you in the show, either seasons, until the end of season 2. And so, again, guys, really good show. I really hope you enjoy this review. This is just my opinion of the show. I think it was really good, and I think it was a learning lesson for myself and for a lot of people who watched it, that love isn't definitive. It's extremely complex, and we can't close ourselves off to what could be, but we definitely need to move on from what could have been, because what could have been is what could have been. We can't, you know, stick on that, because if we sit there and sulk on that and be upset about what could have been, we hold ourselves back from actually seeing what could be in our future. And I think that's what it was with Suno, you know, because he was so stuck on what could have been and what was, that he was unable to fully accept and open up his heart to Yeokju, who deserved the world. Y'all, I love Yeokju. That's my favorite character. That's my favorite character. My favorite character is definitely Yeokju. My favorite character is definitely Yeokju. And yeah, you guys. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a really good show. I really loved it. If anybody wants to connect and like actually talk more about, you know, our differing opinions on season 2, please leave any questions you have or comments you have down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I really want to connect, and I feel like I have my opinions and my thoughts on it, and you guys are gonna have completely different thoughts and opinions. And so yeah, let's exchange words, get into it. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was such an amazing show to watch. Thank you to the producers, the writers, the directors, and to Netflix for giving us this amazing show that really shows us that love is more than what meets the eye or app. Thank you, guys. And again, have a great day. Be sure to subscribe, throw me a like, and throw me comments down below. I'll see you next week with my next review.